Okay, so in this video presentation class, I will give you some example on how to generate such SIP titles. Okay, so let's try to generate some SIP titles using the following information. So for life sciences, so we have here Akasha bark as our independent variable, oxidative stress, our dependent variable, corn as our experimental unit, then attenuation process is utilization, expected product is reducing agent, and then our rationale is that there is a growth reduction of corn. So from this information, we can generate an SIP title, okay, entitled as Acacia bark extracts, Acacia confusa, as a reducing agent of oxidative stress in the growth reduction of corn or Zea mays. Okay? Or Zea mays L. Okay. So, note class here that we follow the APA guideline of 12 to 15 substantive words. Okay? And when we say substantive words, those are the words that are capitalized. Okay? Not counting the scientific names. Okay? So next, we have another example for life sciences. We have Kalachuchi bark as our independent variable, and another independent variable is the kapok leaf extracts. Okay, so note class, you can have a more than one independent variable. Same for the dependent variable. You can have more than one dependent variable. So our dependent variable here is the zone of inhibition of Phytophthora sojei. Okay? And our experimental unit is rice. So if our experimental unit here class is, let's say, a crop, okay, you will be required to do let's say a field experiment. Okay, field experiment. However, class, if our experimental unit here is the Phytophthora sojei, okay, Phytophthora having Phytophthora sojei as our experimental unit will require us, let's say, what do you call this? The culture of such bacteria. And the culturation of such bacteria will lead you to a laboratory experiment rather than a field experiment. Okay? So that's the difference. So we have here synergy as a attenuation process and antifungal agent as our expected output. And our rationale is that there is an occurrence of stem rot in rice caused by Phytophthora sojei. So our let's say SIP title that can be formulated here is that we have the synergistic effect of Kalachuchi bark and kapok leaf extracts against stem rot in rice. Okay, class. Note here that we use the variable uh, stem rot in rice instead of Phytophthora sojei. Why, class? Because if we, let's say, created a title, okay, let's say replacing stem rot in rice by Phytophthora sojei, it means that we will be conducting a laboratory experiment. But in this case, we are conducting a field experiment. That's why we chose to put stem rot in rice instead of against Phytophthora sojei. Okay? So I hope that is clear for you. Okay? So let's have another example for life sciences. So we have the independent variable is Agrobacterium tumefaciens. And our dependent variable here is the genetic makeup of wheat. Okay? And our experimental unit will be wheat. Then our attenuation is mediation. Okay? And our process is genetic transformation. And our rationale here, class, is the callus crowning of wheat, which will reduce the crop yield. Therefore, class, we can formulate a title. So this, let's say, this study is actually under the genetics category of life sciences. Okay, it concerns with genetics. So it is another subfield of life sciences. And from here, we can formulate a title Okay, a study entitled Agrobacterium tumescens Mediated Genetic Transformation of Wheat in Improving Crop Yield. Okay, so that's our title. Now, for applied sciences, okay, we have here Catmon peel extracts as our independent variable. Our dependent variable is the heavy metal count. Then our experimental unit is the heavy metal contaminated spring water. Attenuation is the reduction process. And then, let's say, reducing agent as the expected product for the heavy metals. Okay, and then our rationale is water poisoning, water contamination, and water pollution. So from here, we can formulate a study entitled Catmon peel extras as a reducing agent of heavy metals among spring waters. Okay, so reducing agent here is our, let's say, expected product. Okay, so spring water, okay, as our experimental unit because it is the one contaminated by our dependent variable. Okay, next. We have another study under applied sciences. So we have Pseudomonas aeruginosa as our independent variable. Then we have plastic waste density as our dependent variable. Experimental unit is plastic waste contaminated waters, attenuation process by remediation, and our rationale is water pollution. So bioremediation class is actually a process where you can, let's say, decrease plastic waste with the help of microorganisms. Microorganisms. Okay? So, bioremediation is a process where you can decrease, let's say, plastic waste with the help of microorganism. And an example of a microorganism that can decrease plastic waste is Pseudomonas aeruginosa. So, with this information, you can formulate a study entitled Bioremediation of Pseudomonas aeruginosa among plastic waste contaminated waters. Okay? Next, we have here a study under applied sciences again. So we have chitin from crab shells. So chitin is actually a protein found in crab shells and other, let's say, mollusks and crustaceans. Okay, and our dependent variable is the protein content. Protein content of wheat. So wheat is our experimental unit. And our attenuation process is that you will utilize such chitin from crab shells. And then another process is that we must extract this chitin. Then our rationale is the decreasing protein content of wheat. So from this information, we can formulate a study entitled Chitin obtained from crab shells as protein inducers among wheat crops. So protein inducer can also be our attenuation because it is our expected product. Okay, so that's how you formulate titles under applied sciences. Next, we have titles under robotics. So our independent variable here is the session initiated protocol, okay, or the SIP. And actually, the IV for robotics are sometimes the modulation or the program used to program your robots, okay? So our dependent variable here is the security issue and the experimental unit is the home environment. So security issues of the home environment. And our attenuation process is to enable the program. Okay, program enabling of SIP or session initiation protocol. And our rationale is that there are security issues among households. So therefore, we can formulate a title for robotics. Okay, a study for robotics entitled Super SIP Session Initiated Protocol Enabled Surveillance Patrol Home Environment Robot. So as you can notice, class, we can use, let's say, what do you call this? Acronyms, okay, for studies under robotics. Okay, you can use acronyms for studies under robotics. And it is actually a guideline for the, let's say, if you want to participate in research conferences. So your robotics, if your study fall under the category of robotics, you must have a an acronym in your title. Okay? Next, Another example for robotics is that we have artificial intelligence for our IV, so AI. Then our dependent variable is the program of living room appliances. And then our experimental unit or living room appliances. Our attenuation process is that we have to operate the chatbot. Okay, operation of chatbot using artificial intelligence. And then our rationale is that there is an inconvenience manning of household appliances. So for this class, we can produce a study entitled Ay Bakla, Artificial Intelligence-Based Chatbot in Operating Living Room Appliances. So notice class, we also use here, okay, an acronym. So for research innovative, we have the following. So we have muscle shells as our independent variable. Dependent variable is the filtration system of vehicles. Experimental unit is car exhaust or the tambucho. Then attenuation process, we must improve the filtration system. Okay, note class the keyword improvement. Okay, then there should have an integration. So integration meaning to say there should have an upgrade. Okay, or let's say, okay, the incorporation. Okay, then rationale is that there are greenhouse gas emissions among car exhausts. So from here we can generate a study entitled integration of muscle shells in improving the filtration system of vehicle exhausts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So class, in identifying researches under the research innovative category, always take note of the following key terms: improving, integration, innovation, upgrade, okay? Terms like that. And actually, class, you can also use acronyms for research innovative. Okay, it is up to you if you want to use acronyms for your research innovative uh, studies. And another example, and our last example, we have uh, speech recognition protocol or SPR for our independent variable. Then dependent variable is the automation of garbage bins. And then experimental unit, we have garbage bins. Attenuation process, technological advancement. Okay, take note of the key term advancement, meaning to say there's also an innovation. Okay, then program enabling of SPR. And then our rationale here, existing problem, is the increasing garbage pollution. Okay, so we can formulate a study entitled Speech Recognition Modulation in Garbage Disposal Management Systems in Improving Waste Management. Okay, again, you can convert this title into an acronym. Okay, it is your choice. So that will be our example for research innovative. And here are other examples of SIP titles. We have Makahiya Extract as an alternative larvicide against mosquito. Okay, so this title falls under applied sciences. Okay, then we also have, oh no, 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 not applied sciences. This is for, because this is animal sciences, insect science, entomology. This is life sciences. Sorry, this is life sciences. Okay, it concerns with the study of the mosquito. Okay, larvicide against the mosquito, and it concerns health as well. Okay, next we have sodium polyacrylate as a fire retardant layer in modified plywood. So this one is actually a study under applied sciences. Okay, because it falls under material sciences because we are dealing with plywood. Material sciences. Next, effectiveness of crab shells in extending the shelf life of avocado. So it concerns chemistry because it concerns shelf life. Therefore, it is under applied sciences. Then we also have apatot leaves extract for lowering high cholesterol level. So this falls under medical sciences. So therefore, life sciences. Okay. Then we have temperature variation on Panax ginseng in enhancing the ginseng saponin content. So this is also life sciences because it concerns with the genetics of the ginseng plant, Panax ginseng. Okay. And that concludes our discussion regarding the generation of SIP titles.